Good morning, fifth graders. Happy Monday. Hope you had a fabulous weekend. Mrs. Bandy here to start off a Monday with another reading lesson. Today we're going to continue to look at questioning in our literary text. Today we're going to do a little bit of a different strategy. So pay close attention to what I do in the modeling so that you are able to continue this strategy moving into your small groups. All right, let's go ahead and get started. All right, so on the screen you see I have a passage from the book, The Normal Kid. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read through this passage one time. And as I'm reading through the passage, you're going to see that I'm going to be making some marks on the passage. And these are just marks of me thinking questions that I might have. And then I'm going to go back and we're going to address those. So let's take a look. Justin, my brother, said he'd seen some idiotic looks on my face before, but that one was the best. Adam started calling me Tree Boy. The name spread like a bad cold. I heard it at soccer day camp and from all the kids who hung out at the pool. By the time the school started 2 weeks later, half the kids I knew were calling me Tree Boy. Anyway, the whole thing was my mom's fault. Three days in a row, she dragged me along to a place called Oriole Woods. She and 15 or 20 other people were protesting some company's plan to cut down all the trees and build townhouses. Okay, so you see me make some marks as I was reading. Now I'm going to reread and I'm going to address those marks and the questions that I had as I was making those marks. So let's go ahead and take a look again. Justin, my brother, said he'd seen some idiotic looks on my face before, but that one was the best. Adam started calling me Tree Boy. Okay, when I circled Tree Boy and put a question mark because I was wondering why was he being called Tree Boy? So I'm going to put that here. So why was he being called Tree Boy? Okay, let's keep reading. The name spread like a bad cold. Okay, so I've circled this bad cold. I was wondering when I circled that, what does the author mean by the name spread like a bad cold? I don't understand why the author is comparing the name spread like a bad cold. So I heard it at soccer day camp and from all the kids who hung out at the pool. By the time school started 2 weeks later, half the kids I knew were calling me Tree Boy. Okay, so I underlined that because as I was reading that, I was really wondering how it made this kid feel that half the kids he knew were calling him Tree Boy. Anyway, The whole thing was my mother's fault. All right, well, when I was reading that, I was like, what? That's why I wrote what? Like, what? Why is it the mother's fault that he's being called tree boy? Why is it mom's fault? Okay. 3 days in a row, she dragged me along to a place called Oriole Woods. She and 15 or 20 other people were protesting some company's plan to cut down all the trees and build townhouses. Well, I circled that word protesting because I'm not really sure what that word means. Like, I don't really know what the meaning of that word is. So what does protesting mean? Okay, so I've had a chance to go back, reread through the passage for the second time, and then I stopped at each of my markings and I wrote through my questions, and you see those on the screen in black. Now, I want to look at each of those questions, and I really want us to have a conversation about those questions and discuss these questions. Are they most interesting or important, or is it something that we can answer right now? And I'm going to be honest, a lot of these questions I'm going to leave as most interesting or important because I'm not sure at this point. I'm going to read on, and then that might help me to determine if the question that I asked was most interesting or important. And that's the great thing about charting your questions. You can go back and revisit those questions and determine, oh, that question was really important. And I know that now because I've read on. All right, so let's take a look. Why was he being called tree boy? I mean, honestly, and I'm gonna just mark them. I'm just gonna mark them on the side as most interesting. Honestly, I think I just want to call them important, to be honest. So let's just call them important. Ooh. So important. Why is it compared to a bad cold? Okay, so this question, I think this is a question that I could go off and I could answer this question. I could look this up. I could just go to Google and I could look this up. Like I could look up bad colds and I could probably figure out why it's being compared to a bad cold. So I'm not going to write important next to that because that's a question that I can answer myself by using resources that I have, whether it's Google, asking a friend, a parent, a guardian, my teacher. That might be something that I could do to answer that question. All right, let's take a look at number 3. How did the boy feel to be called tree boy by half the kids? I definitely think that I'm going to write important next to that question because I might find that out as I read on. I'm not sure. All right, number 4, why is it mom's fault? Yeah, why is it mom's fault that the boy is being called tree boy? I'm going to write important underneath that one. And like I said, I can always come back and revisit these questions and change my opinion on whether it's important or a question that is now answered. All right, and number 5, what does protesting mean? So this is a question that I can look up. I can use my resources to look up what is protesting. So I'm going to look this question up. So I'm not going to mark it as important because I'm just going to go over to Webster.com and I'm going to look up the word protest. And that will be able to help me answer that question. All right, my 5th graders. So you just have the opportunity to see me model for you asking text-dependent questions. This is a strategy that we're going to continue to use while we go into our small groups and you get out your small group text. you're going to ask text-dependent questions and you're going to go through the same process with your teacher. Have a great rest of your Monday. If I don't see you, have a fabulous Thanksgiving because we won't have reading on Wednesday because it's a house day. So happy reading, and I'll see you soon.